I'm the new father of your kids. That's what he said, right before he dumped a glass of ice water over my head in front of my wife, my friends, and my goddamn children. I stood there dripping, fists clenched, heart thudding like a war drum, while my wife, Amanda, sat on the edge of the pool in her little red sundress, legs crossed, sipping sangria like nothing happened. She didn't flinch, didn't defend me, didn't even look surprised. The guy? He was built like an Instagram influencer with a steroid habit. Arrogant, tan, and grinning like this was all some big joke. She chose me, man. You were just a placeholder. Something snapped. I didn't think. I moved. The next 8 minutes were a blur of red. My fists. His screams. Amanda yelling, "Stop. You're ruining everything." I broke his jaw. His ribs. I would have broken time itself if it meant erasing that moment. By the time the ambulance arrived, the doctors were fighting to keep him alive. And Amanda? She looked down at me like I was the villain. He made me feel something. Something you haven't in years. That was her excuse. Not sorry. Not ashamed. Just bored. Like everything we'd built. Our home, our family, was disposable. But it didn't start there. No. The betrayal had been rotting under the surface for months. I just didn't see it. Until it exploded at a barbecue in my own damn backyard. 3 weeks before the backyard incident, things already felt off. It was in the way Amanda stopped kissing me goodnight. The way she started turning her phone screen away when she texted. How she suddenly had girls' nights every Thursday, but never posted a single picture from them. Not even a fake group selfie. Just silence. I noticed. Of course, I noticed. But I convinced myself it was nothing. That we were just tired. Busy. Married. Then I found the red heels. They weren't new. But they hadn't been worn in years. Not since that trip to Miami when we were still in love. Amanda hated them. Said they hurt her feet. Suddenly, they were gone from the back of the closet. That same night, she came home late. Lipstick smudged. Hair wild like she'd run through a thunderstorm. She told me she was with Kelsey and the girls. That they were dancing. I asked her why she didn't text. She smiled. Phone died. But her phone was warm in her purse when she walked past me. Fully charged. The next day, I checked our shared iCloud account. I wasn't proud of it, but something deep in my gut, something primal, told me the truth was close. iMessage didn't show much. She was careful, but she forgot about the photos. One stood out. A blurry mirror selfie. Amanda, in our bathroom, wearing those red heels. And behind her, a man's hand. Thick fingers. Tattooed wrist. Resting on her bare hip like he owned her. I didn't breathe. Just stared. She took that picture in our house. In our bathroom. While I was probably downstairs putting the kids to bed or fixing her car like a dumb, loyal husband. I wanted to believe it wasn't real. That maybe it was old. Maybe someone edited it. But the timestamp crushed any hope I had left. Taken 2 nights ago, 11:42 p.m. While I was sleeping. She'd been in our bed after that. Wrapped in my arms. Whispering that she loved me. I didn't confront her right away. I needed more. The next Thursday, she said she was going out again. Hair curled. Red heels on. That same dress. The one with the low back that she claimed she didn't feel confident wearing anymore. This time I followed her. She didn't go to Kelsey's. She went to a hotel. And I watched, parked far enough not to be seen, as a black SUV pulled up and the man from the mirror photo stepped out, grinning like a wolf. She jumped into his arms like a teenager, wrapped her legs around him, laughed. Then they disappeared inside. I sat there for hours. Still. Cold. Empty. It wasn't just betrayal. It was the realization that everything, the years, the family dinners, the inside jokes, meant nothing to her. She was already his. In body, in mind, maybe even in love. But love doesn't pour water over your husband's head in front of his children and call himself the new father. That was war. And war was coming. I didn't sleep that night. I just lay there in the dark, watching the ceiling fan spin like the world was mocking me. When Amanda crept back in around 3 a.m., barefoot and humming, I pretended to be asleep. She moved carefully, slowly, like a thief returning to a scene she thought she got away with. She slid into bed next to me, her skin cold. I could smell him on her. That was the last straw. The next morning, I called in sick and took the kids to my sister's. Told Amanda we were visiting family. She didn't even ask which family. She barely looked up from her phone. While she texted God knows who, probably him, I stared at her and saw someone I didn't recognize. The woman I married? She was gone. This one, She had dead eyes and a smirk like she thought she was playing a game I didn't know the rules to. But I knew. I knew every damn rule now. I called Kelsey later that day. Amanda's best friend. They used to be inseparable, and I thought, maybe, I could get some kind of truth. Something that made sense. Kelsey paused when I asked her, then whispered, "You didn't hear it from me, Ethan, but Amanda's been seeing someone named Troy. Met him at the gym a few months ago. He's not your type." "What's that supposed to mean?" "He's loud, arrogant, rich, I guess. Drives a Maserati. Thinks he's a goddamn alpha male." Alpha male. That phrase echoed in my head like a gunshot. And suddenly it all clicked. The sudden interest in fitness. The new perfume. The red heels. The late nights. The dead eyes. She wasn't just cheating. She was replacing me. And Troy? He wasn't just some side distraction. He was her plan B. Hell, maybe her plan A all along. I sat on this information for days. Let it rot inside me like a splinter in the soul. I watched her lie to my face. Watched her kiss my cheek before leaving the house to go climb all over another man. She had the audacity to bring me coffee in the mornings. Say she loved me. Hug the kids goodnight. Like she wasn't burning everything behind our backs. So I made a decision. I invited everyone over for a backyard barbecue. Amanda's friends. My friends. The neighbors. Even Kelsey. I told her it was to celebrate the promotion I didn't get. She smiled and said, "Finally, you're doing something fun." I said nothing. I let her wear that red sundress. Let her do her hair, fix her makeup, play the doting wife. I manned the grill while she floated around the yard with her drink, chatting, laughing, lying. Then, at exactly 5:30, I saw him. Troy, walking up the driveway like he owned it. Button down open. Aviators on. Gold chain bouncing on his tan chest like he walked out of a damn music video. Amanda saw him. And she didn't panic. She smiled. The kind of smile I hadn't seen in years. The kind she used to give me when we were young and wild and still in love. Now it belonged to him. I felt something crack inside my chest. Like the last bone holding my world together. Troy stepped into the yard, looked right at me, and raised his glass like we were old friends. And that's when it happened. The moment that changed everything. He walked over to Amanda, kissed her on the cheek in front of everyone, and said, "Your boy finally invited me. Took him long enough to accept I'm the new father of his kids." Then he turned, raised his glass over my head, and poured it out. Cold, sticky, slow. The crowd gasped. Amanda laughed. And I saw red. I don't remember making the decision to move. There was no moment of thought. No hesitation. Just instinct. Pure rage. My body took over before my mind caught up. The glass slipped from my hand and shattered on the patio. The sound barely registered. All I could see was his smug face. His hand still wrapped around Amanda's waist. Her eyes, amused, entertained, proud. My fist hit his jaw before anyone even had time to react. He stumbled back, tripping over a patio chair. I followed. I wasn't trying to scare him. I wasn't trying to send a message. I wanted to hurt him, to erase him. My knuckles split against his teeth. Blood splattered across the concrete. Someone screamed. Maybe Amanda, maybe someone else. I didn't care. He tried to get up. I kicked him in the ribs. Again and again. The sound of his groans didn't slow me down. It fueled me. A pair of hands grabbed my shoulders, trying to pull me off. I shoved them away. Another punch. This time to his nose. I heard it break, sharp and wet. He finally stopped moving. People were yelling. Phones were out. Someone shouted for an ambulance. I didn't hear the words. Just noise. A buzzing blur. And Amanda, she wasn't crying. Wasn't rushing to Troy. She was screaming at me. "What the hell is wrong with you?" I turned to her. My face twisted with disbelief. He just poured water on me and told everyone he was replacing me as the father of our children. And you're asking what's wrong with me? Her lips curled. Cold. Cruel. You embarrassed me. In front of everyone. I stood there, breathing heavy, my fists dripping blood. Hers or mine, I wasn't sure anymore. Then I heard the sirens. I didn't run. I didn't hide. I just sat down on the edge of the patio, next to the shattered glass, and stared at the sky while they tried to revive him. He was still alive. Barely. Amanda didn't go with him to the hospital. She just stood with her arms folded, muttering about how I overreacted. Like that was the crime. Not the months of betrayal. Not the public humiliation. Not the man who had the audacity to invade my home, my family, my life. I gave her 10 years. A home. 2 children. Loyalty. She gave me lies and a man who thought pouring water on me was funny. When the cops arrived, I didn't resist. I told them everything. I showed them the messages, the photos, even the hotel footage I'd pulled from a contact. The officer nodded. Quiet. Said something about self-defense. About provocation. Said I might be lucky, depending on whether or not the guy survives. I didn't feel lucky. I felt empty. Like the house I built with her hands. Like the promises we made in a church she never believed in. Like the version of myself I buried to be the husband she said she wanted. And now? Now I was a headline waiting to happen. The man who snapped. The man who lost it all at a barbecue. But I didn't care what anyone called me. Because when I looked at Amanda, when I saw the look of pure contempt in her eyes, I realized something. She hadn't just cheated. She had erased me. Rewritten the story without me. But this isn't her story anymore. It's mine. The next morning, the house was silent. Too silent. No kids, no noise, just that sterile stillness that usually follows a death. Fitting, I guess. Something had died. My trust, my marriage, maybe even the version of myself I thought was unshakable. Amanda hadn't come home that night. I figured she went to the hospital. Not for Troy, no. She went to play the role of the poor, helpless woman whose crazy husband lost his mind. I imagined her with fake tears, a tragic dress, maybe even faking a bruise for sympathy. I stood in the kitchen, staring at the mess from the night before, blood on the tile, broken glass near the back door, chairs knocked over. Evidence of a war no one expected to happen during a barbecue. That's when I noticed it. Her phone. She'd left it charging on the kitchen counter. Unlocked. The universe rarely gives you moments this clean. I wasn't going to waste it. I opened her messages first. The threads were endless. Troy's name wasn't even hidden. It was saved as Daddy T. That alone nearly made me throw the phone across the room. I read things no man should ever have to read. Things she said to him that she never even whispered to me in 10 years of marriage. And the worst part? It wasn't just physical. She told him she loved him. That she was tired of playing family with me. That she'd never met a man like him before. It was like reading a eulogy to my own life. But the real punch in the gut came when I found a thread with her sister, Madison. Amanda, I think he knows. He keeps looking at me like he's already buried me. Madison, so? You always wanted out. Troy's got money. And the house. What's Ethan got? Loyalty? EW. Amanda, loyalty doesn't pay for Cabo. My jaw clenched so hard I thought my teeth would crack. Her whole damn family was in on it. I was a joke to them. A stepping stone. A placeholder until the upgrade arrived. And the kids? I kept scrolling, desperate for something. Anything. That would show she cared about them at least. But she didn't. She'd written, I'll get full custody. Ethan's too weak to fight. He'll fold. He always does. No, not this time. Not again. I took screenshots of everything. Every text, every photo, every filthy message. I saved them all to a drive, printed them out, made copies. And then I called my lawyer. Not a divorce lawyer. Not yet. First, I needed to protect my kids. Because no way in hell was I letting her and her Daddy T play house with my children like nothing happened. While the printer spat out page after page of betrayal, Amanda walked in, still wearing the dress from last night. Eyes puffy, lips dry, heels in her hand like she'd just walked home from war. We locked eyes. Neither of us spoke. She looked at the printer, the papers spilling out, and then back at me. You went through my phone. You left it unlocked, I said calmly. That was your second mistake. Her voice was hoarse. And the first, thinking I'd stay quiet. She opened her mouth, but I cut her off. I'm filing for custody. Today. I'm done, Amanda. And then something snapped in her. The tears vanished. The fake guilt melted. And there it was again, that smirk. That cruel, poisonous smirk she wore when she poured acid into my life and called it perfume. You think anyone will side with you? She hissed. You beat a man half to death in front of witnesses. My witnesses. I stepped closer. Calm. Controlled. They also saw him pour water on me and call himself the new father of my kids. It's all on video. You really think that'll play well in court? Her face paled. I dropped a folder full of printed messages and photos on the counter. Let's see what the judge thinks. She didn't say another word. Just turned, picked up her phone, and walked into the bathroom. I stood there in the quiet, surrounded by 1,000 pieces of my broken marriage. And for the first time in months, I felt something like peace. This wasn't over. But now, I had control. The next few days were a blur of court documents, meetings with my lawyer, and calls with my sister, who agreed to keep the kids longer. I didn't want them seeing the house like this, or seeing her. Amanda tried to play calm at first. She didn't beg, didn't cry, just cold calculation behind every word. She offered shared custody, as if we were calmly dividing a vacation rental and not the lives of our children. She thought I'd fold, like I always did. But this time, I had the truth and a spine. By day 4, her mask started cracking. She began sending voice notes in the middle of the night, pretending to be sorry. I don't know what came over me. It wasn't supposed to happen like this. You weren't there for me emotionally. Classic manipulator handbook. Justifications dressed as apologies. I didn't reply. Then she switched tactics. Threats. If you take this to court, I'll tell them you're violent. That you have anger issues. You assaulted someone, Ethan. I recorded every call. Saved every message. It was textbook gaslighting, and I wasn't falling for it again. A week later, my lawyer filed the official custody claim. I had everything. The cheating, the emotional abuse, the evidence. The judge granted me temporary full custody, pending a formal hearing. That's when Amanda broke. She showed up at my door at midnight. Pounding like a lunatic, mascara streaked across her cheeks. "You're ruining my life," she screamed. "You think you're the victim? You're pathetic. He gave me everything you couldn't." I didn't even flinch. I opened the door, handed her a small cardboard box with her essentials, wallet, passport, a few clothes, and closed it in her face without a word. The next morning, she called Madison. I had her bugged, of course. "I underestimated him," she said, panicked. "He's not the same. He's not weak anymore." Madison just laughed. "So what? Turn on the tears. Tell the court he was abusive. They'll believe you." But they wouldn't. Not this time. Not with every single lie already documented. Not after she openly cheated with a man who insulted me in front of my children, poured water on me like I was trash, and declared himself the new father while she laughed. Her case was a burning wreck before it even left the station. Troy? He was still in recovery. Broken ribs. Shattered cheekbone. Internal bleeding. They kept it quiet, probably hoping I'd be too distracted with the divorce to press charges. But I wasn't done yet. 2 days after Amanda's failed ambush at the house, I sent an email to Troy's employer. Anonymous. Containing video footage of him showing up drunk at our house, the assault, the entire scene. Turns out, Troy was on probation for a prior assault charge. He lost his job that Friday. Amanda lost her backup plan. Now she was calling me constantly. Suddenly, I was the love of her life again. She missed me. Missed the kids. "We can go to therapy," she offered. "Start fresh." Fresh? After she let that man humiliate me in my own home, in front of our kids, and laughed? I sent her one text. "You made your choice. Now live with it." And I meant it. Because for the first time in a long time, I had clarity. She didn't deserve forgiveness. She deserved silence. It was quiet for almost 2 weeks after that. No more calls. No surprise visits. No fake apologies or threats disguised as concern. I thought maybe she'd finally gotten the message, that the chapter with me was over and I had closed the book, locked it, and thrown the key into hell. Then came the subpoena. Amanda was trying to fight for custody. Full custody. The audacity. My lawyer called me the second the documents were filed. Her claim? Emotional instability. Aggression. She was leveraging the fight with Troy, spinning it as domestic abuse. Even though the man wasn't her husband, wasn't invited, and sure as hell wasn't assaulted without provocation. But Amanda had gone full scorched earth now. She was painting herself as the victim, posting online about escaping a controlling marriage, about rebuilding after years of silence. Even posted a selfie with a fake tear in her eye and a caption that said, "Sometimes the people who seem safest are the most dangerous." I wanted to scream. Instead, I sent my lawyer the screenshots. We were ready. The hearing was set for Friday morning. I wore a navy suit. Amanda wore white, of course. She looked polished, innocent, as if the makeup could cover her lies. Troy didn't show. No surprise. Last I heard, he'd relocated to Arizona to recover. Or maybe just to hide. Amanda spoke first. Her voice was soft, shaky. She talked about fear, about manipulation, about how she lost herself in marriage. She made herself sound like she was in a prison. I watched the judge's face carefully. He was listening, but not buying it. Not entirely. Then it was my turn. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't insult her. I simply handed over the folder. The photos, the messages, the videos, the hotel logs, the audio of her and Madison laughing about using me, the hospital reports, even a witness statement from Kelsey, who had finally decided enough was enough and told the truth. It was over before it began. Amanda tried to interject, tried to fake tears when the judge asked about Troy's involvement with our children. But it was useless. I got full custody. She got supervised visits. Every second Saturday. 3 hours. No overnights. When the gavel hit, I looked over at her. For the first time, her face didn't have a smirk. No smugness. No superiority. Just a blank stare. Defeat. Afterward, she tried to approach me in the hallway. Ethan, please. We can't let this be how it ends. I turned to her, calm. No, this is how you ended it. Then I walked away. No more hesitation. No more pieces left to give her. When I got home, the kids were watching TV, curled up on the couch. I sat down between them, pulled them close, and breathed for what felt like the first time in years. And somewhere deep inside me, a weight lifted. It wasn't about revenge anymore. It was about freedom. And I had finally, fully stepped into mine. It's been 6 months now. The house is quiet again, but not in that hollow, miserable way it was right after everything exploded. It's peaceful, warm, the kind of quiet you earn after walking through fire and surviving. The kids are thriving. My daughter's back to painting again, covering the fridge in messy rainbows and stars. My son laughs like he used to. No more tiptoeing around tension. No more seeing their mother whisper behind my back or sneak out while I pretended not to notice. They don't ask about Troy. They barely ask about Amanda. And when they do, I tell them the truth, but not all of it. Not yet. Someday they'll know. Someday when they're older, I'll hand them the full story. All the pages. But for now, they just need their father whole. As for Amanda, she still sends the occasional message. Always different in tone. One day it's regret. The next, blame. Some days she pretends none of it happened. Others, she acts like I ruined her life. She never really learned what love was. Not the real kind. Not the kind you fight for when it's hard. She only ever chased the high. The attention. The illusion of control. I don't reply anymore. Not out of anger. Out of indifference. She doesn't live here. Not in this house. Not in my head. Not in my future. What I've learned. It's simple. Never ignore your gut. Never let loyalty turn into your own noose. And never, ever, stay silent when someone starts to erase you. I gave her everything. She gave it to a stranger with tattoos and a gym membership. She thought I'd beg, that I'd break, that I'd become the shell she needed to feel powerful. But I didn't. I rose, not to prove her wrong, but to remember who I am. To any man out there feeling that cold shift in your home, pay attention. Love shouldn't come with lies. Respect doesn't flirt behind your back. And a real partner never lets another man pour water on you and call himself the father of your kids while she stands there smiling. You don't come back from that. You don't try to fix it. You leave it behind and build something stronger, wiser, real. I'm not the same man she tried to break. I'm better, stronger, sharper, and I'll never let anyone take that from me again.